Hello YouTube, I am back once again. Sorry for my late absence. As you know, I've been a little bit busy these past couple of months. As I explained in my last video, that I went to Serbia for the X Festival where I saw The Cure for the first time, and I have to swallow what I said in the previous Goth Confession video that they were very good. I truly enjoyed my time there. Their live set was fantastic, despite it raining for the first hour and our makeup and hair getting ruined. But overall it was a fantastic show. I'll be sure to throw in a few clips. And on top of visiting family in all that in Serbia with my girlfriend, I also went to Slovenia for a couple of days, and yeah, just a general nice holiday without dying from the sun. As soon as I came back from holiday, I was just thrown straight to work, so I'm currently doing 6 weeks of double shifts, so hence the lateness of a recent update. But whilst I was away, I noticed that a little trend has been going on, which was the Goth Music Tag, and unfortunately because I didn't have the right equipment to record this, I thought it would be the first thing to do once I came back. So now I've got the time. So this is the Goth Music Video Tag. I don't know who exactly created this tag. It does seem interesting, so let's just jump right into it and see where we go. Let's get started. So the first question is, who was the first goth band you ever listened to? Depends on what aspect of goth we're talking about. If we're talking traditional goth, then it's Bauhaus, and that was when I was about 11 years old, just scrolling through YouTube as a wandering 11-year-old does. If we're talking about anything else of the gothic umbrella term and narrative, then it would laughably be the Cradle of Filth from the Cruelty and Slave video, because they're count underneath that gothic black metal genre. All I remember from that video was it scared the living crap out of me as a kid, so it kind of put me off it for a while. So let's stick to the morality of this video, and I'm going to say Bauhaus. How was I introduced into goth music? As I said, I wasn't introduced into goth music first. I was more introduced to the goth label per se, because when I was a kid, being 10 or 11 years old, and you're wearing skulls and everything like that, people would ask me, am I a goth? And at that age I wouldn't necessarily know what a goth was. I thought it was just me being unusual self with my own identity. But then once I started looking into what goth was, and I saw the way how they dress and the way how their perception was, I thought, okay, I can relate to that quite heavily, in fact. So then afterwards, it was when I was introduced into the goth music, so I was recommended like bands like Bauhaus, which I found blindly on YouTube. My mother did listen to the Sister Mercy when she was younger, so there was a little push towards that. So I think that's basically how I found it, through general curiosity and slight little influences from my parents. Question 3, what was my first impersonation of goth music? More or less everything that I expected, to be honest, because before I was too sure if I wanted to be identified within that label, I did kind of have a little look as to what the main principle of music was, because I knew there was a big difference between gothic metal and gothic rock, and a lot of the metal stuff which I grew up with, Moonspell and Cradle of Filth and Typo Negative, they were very diverse in their own ways. And when I was researching what goth music was, I know laugh about it researching, but it's always good to get an idea of perception of what to expect. So when I was researching this, they also mentioned tribal drum beats or drum machines, high bass riffs, screechy eerie guitar effects, more atmospheric and sort of stuff, and obviously deep brooding vocals. And I think once I started hearing this connection, especially through a lot of Bauhaus and Sister Mercy songs, where each song which I listened to, they ticked off those certain conventions or repertoires, it was what I expected, and I really liked it. And then I ended up dabbling into more of the subgenres, such as death punk, more like Alien Sex Fiend type of stuff, where it's more anarchic and everything. Same as the Birthday Party, very punk influenced. And then you have like the death rock scene, which has its own different type of sound as well. So it's very much what I expected. You still have that howling, fearing broodiness of the Gothic music label, depending, no matter what subgenre you are introduced to first. First originating goth band from the first wave. I wonder what that could be. Number 5, favourite goth subgenre. Well, I'm going to exclude trad goth out of this because this is a very stereotypical thing to say and very predictable as well. So I'm not going to include trad goth as one, because that was very much punk orientated and very new romantic influenced, and it didn't become a specified label until the end of the 80s per se. So if I had to pick something of a different aspect, but I do like a lot of atmospheric and ambient type of sound, if I had to pick, it would be probably a mixture of dark wave and cold wave, because I just like that dark ambient feel that you can get from it. And I don't know, it's like a soft spot. I know it's like towards a 90s creation as well as industrial, but if I had to pick, I'll probably say dark wave. Favourite era of goth music? I think I have a favourite soft spot for every decade. So obviously the 80s was a big influence with like the Batcave era, and then obviously the 90s you had the industrial introduction, which ended up bringing to the cybergoth influence, and then now there's death rock revival and witch house stuff. I wouldn't say I have a favourite. There are ones which I kind of appreciate more than others, but once again, I don't necessarily have a favourite era. I think they're all crucial in one way or another to the development of Gothic music, and I can appreciate and enjoy little bits and bobs of each decade. Top 5 favourite goth bands. This is in not any chronological order. It's actually a tough one because I listen to so many, I can't necessarily take a substandard pick out of it because I listen to so much of it. It's quite hard to pick. It's really unfair to make me pick. I guess I'm going to say Bauhaus, Ros Williams era Christian Death, Luna's a Yugoslavian rock band. I'm going to say Estrada as well, and I'm going to say a new upcoming band called Shadow Age. They're really, really cool, and I recommend you checking them out as well. Top 3 goth albums. First and Last Noise by Sister Mercy, Burning from the Inside by Bauhaus. The third one, this is going to be, I don't know, this one's a little bit hard because I have to really rewrap it, but I think I'm going to have to say, I'm going to say Borderline by Silent Party. Number 9, favourite goth songs, at least 5. Okay, let's just stick to 5 for this one because I don't want to make this too long and potentially boring. So, top of my head, I'm going to say Burn by The Cure, which is one. I'm trying to think of a Bauhaus one, which is, I know you're probably sick to death of me saying Bauhaus at this point, but it's very hard because I do generally like a lot of them. If I had to pick, it would possibly be Honeymoon Crew, Walk Away by Sisters of Mercy, Vetroglavica by Lestrada. I'm also going to say Home Is Where by The Shadow Project. How could I leave that one last? That was stuck in my head all this time. Is there a goth band that I couldn't get into? To be fair, there's a number of ones which I tried getting a listen to, but I couldn't necessarily find myself getting into. I don't know why. I have tried, but I just couldn't get into. For example, I could never get into Virgin Prunes, for example. I don't know why. I have tried, but something just never resonated. It's like, as much as I like ambient music, I'm not that much of it's over ambient, such as the Cockatoo Twins. I can appreciate what the stuff they've done, but I won't call myself a massive fan of them. Obviously, especially when we're going towards like the late 80s, early 90s, for example, I'm not exactly a big fan of Climax. I tried listening to a lot of this stuff and it didn't resonate and sink into it, but same with Incubus, Succubus and Extra Deutschland. But, you know, give it another go in the past, but at the moment I still can't seem to get into them. Favourite iconic goth lead singer? Sorry, Susie. No, everyone's going to say Susie and the Banshees, because everyone kind of thinks of Susie as the first person to go. But if I had to pick, would you necessarily call them a goth? They had like a goth style to them. But was their music goth? That's a different matter. I do quite like a lot of Daniel Dax's music, same as Nina Hagen and Lena Lovitch. But if I had to pick, then I'm just going to stay safe and just stick with Evero, because her music was the ones I listened to the most, especially with the Shadow Project. Thoughts on Andrew Elridge. At this point, he's become a goth meme, to be honest. I mean, he's done some great music. I see him more as a businessman more than a musician. He has got creative control, which is undeniable, but I'm always going to say this, that Sister Mercy was better in my opinion when Wayne Hussey was on, because their music was more from the heart. Thriller and Division things, I just try not to really care too much about it. Not saying they're bad, but I just never found the interest in them when I listened to them. But no, if you ask me, he's just a meme that refuses to admit he's a meme. What's your thoughts on modern goth bands that have come out since 2010? It depends on what aspects. I can see that a lot of the underground bands are thriving on the online support and online following. Well, it's basically a cult following, which I find. Like, one of the first underground bands I've heard was Bat Nueve or Acid Bats, and to me, I liked them because they were so modern, but it had that traditional feel. They had that nostalgic appearance, what they got from the 80s goth movements, and they brought it into something new. It's more or less amplified it in a way. You can hear this through other bands like Alter de Fae, Shadow Age even, which is more like the synthwave stuff. Now, I like what I hear. I think the only fear I have with the modern day stuff is if it all sounding too similar. If they have the same type of influences, then it's very hard to distinguish a lot of them. This is why when I listen to a lot of Bandcamp EPs and I give them a go, you will see who's generally got like certain influences and who like experiment with different sounds. Because the last thing I'm going to do is listen to an EP of a new modern day goth band and find out the first two songs are great and then it all sounds the same because it's that repetitive influence. So that's the only thing I would say is the con of it, but the other side, I'd say there's a lot of pros to it. The fact it's bringing a nice nostalgic feeling as well as a tint of modernism. And question 14, if I could start a goth band, what instrument would I play? And what band would I take influence from? If I was to form another band, it would probably look something like this.
No, I'm not gonna be in the talent show. Oh no.
All jokes aside, no, if I had to choose a part, excluding the Kilbrides, I would have to obviously play guitar. That's my home and comfort, maybe piano. But I think I'm going to also add a little bit of my earliest influences, like the Cradle of Filth era, which is shrieking vocals, because I was very influenced by black metal and fry screams. So maybe that's if I ask very nicely. But as far as gothic influences go, I'd definitely say Shadow Project, Bauhaus, and Strada, definitely. And maybe just nitpicking a little bits of doom metal as well. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it wasn't too boring, and I actually do have a very interesting one which I've got planned, which I'll hope to make in the next couple of weeks. As I said, I'm going to be busy with double shifts, so please do have patience. Once again, I'm sorry that I'm a month overdue, but I hope you enjoyed this video for the meantime, and I'll try to keep you updated a little bit more than just a month. Just remember, just a little note, my last video, as you know, with the Sophie Lancaster calendars, if you still haven't bought one, then please make a pledge now. It does go to a good cause, and obviously you'll have this mug on the calendar. So as I said, I'll drop a link down below if you still haven't, and you haven't seen it before, just a little recap. So it's this. So yeah, once again, I'll drop the pledge down. As I said, we need more help than ever. And once again, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you all very soon. Mwah.